Friday night, I went to play D&D. That shouldn't be a shock to anyone that's watched one of these videos before. You'll probably know that I play D&D, but usually on a Wednesday night. But I went somewhere different. I went to a different place. I went to a different world. I'm blown away. I went to the realm of Arcadia. The reason being that I've been playing D&D for a year, and I wanted to see what else was out there. It's been a year of me actually playing D&D. I spent most of my life wanting to play, but every time I ever mentioned it to my friends, they were like, that's kids stuff, or oh, it's really nerdy, or that's for like odd people in basements, or outrightly just, I don't do games. Any reason, every excuse I always got. I never did. September 2024, I had another YouTube channel, and although I had 250 subscribers, I wasn't getting any views, and I was thinking, oh, I need more subscribers, but I wasn't getting any views, so no one was watching. And so after a conversation with another YouTuber, decided I'd had enough. I quit, gave up. That was August bank holiday weekend, and I spent September just doing anything, can't be bothered, and really depressed, whatever. Somehow, somewhere, I ended up on Discord and found the London D&D Looking for Games server. And I signed on to it, added myself, and sort of wrote a profile, and I wrote, I've never played. I've always wanted to play. I'm interested. Through that, I found another server called Dragons on the Hill. I always get confused with Dragons on the Hill and Wizards on the Coast. You know, the wizards are down there and the dragons are up there. And the paladins are in the church. Anyway, I found Dragons on the Hill and messaged them and said, have you got space for more players? They were central London. A lot of places I've discovered subsequently and prior to this charge an absolute fortune to play. There is a place in Holloway that will charge you £15 per table per hour, plus £15 per person per hour. So if there's 6 people, that's 6 times 15, 30, 60, that's £60 an hour, times 4 hours, that's 240, plus £15 for the table, £255 to play D&D for a night, plus you must buy pizza. And I hate pizza. Yes, I'm that person. I'm the one person. So that was out. Anyway, found this Dragons on the Hill, said to them, do you have space? They said, well, we've got space for another table. If we can put a table together and another group, then cool. I made Tora come with me, and we managed to get 4 guys to join on, and we went along at the end of September, start of October, on a Wednesday night to a pub right opposite the British Museum. The only rule is you have to buy food and drink, or at least drink. And it was fine. Tora calls it the White Guy Collective because they were a bunch of middle-class, white, nerdy guys. The entire room. There are more, but at the time there was one woman in the entire room, and yeah, she just fit the stereotype. Tora felt very, very uncomfortable and very out of place. So we played our first game that night. I was an Asimar monk, and Tora played Earth elementally rogue who liked animals and hated people. She really stepped out of her comfort zone there. And we had, as I was sitting, I can still see the image of Victoria sitting next to me, DM sitting next to me, standard white guy, short hair, beard, Asian media assistant, a loud American computer IT data scientist, and then a white guy too, as he was known, English teacher. And as it goes, DM fighter who only ever plays one character, the Asian guy, plays a guy in a chicken suit. That's what he plays. That's all he plays. 4 different campaigns so far, he's played the same character. The loud American, been playing for 30 years. He's read every book there is. He knows all of the campaigns back to front. So he knows what's going to come up before we get to it. But he's playing an artificer in the campaign. And so every time you come up to say, I pull out my bag of holding a pole with a hand on the end. So I don't have to go into the room. I can pick up the object and leave without going into the room. It must be a nightmare for the DM. But the problem is that DM is quite easy. Lets him get away with stuff. I played one game with him in February. I DM'd my first game, my Cogent Dungeon, which video about there. And I made half the room magic free, and he got the ump and pretty much sulked because he couldn't do anything. That's his answer to everything is magic and cast spells that he should not have. He seems to always have like every spell in the book, and even if he's level 1. And a lawfully good at all times paladin. or fighter or whatever it is, always lawfully good, the English teacher. And we've had a couple of other people join. We had a Swiss American guy who role played and played a tabaxi and an elf and varied things, always had a voice for him, and I really liked him. Even if I got his name wrong for the entire 3 months he was there, I kept calling him Lance. His name was Logan. Don't know where I got Lance from. And we had a guy turn up for 6 weeks and play as a barbarian. Then he just vanished. He clearly just got on the wrong side of a warlock or a sorcerer and was banished to another realm. We do not know what happened to him. He just disappeared. And we've had a new guy join, pretty much White Guy 3. Looks like the two other guys, short hair and a beard, but he's cool. He role plays. The problem is he wants to DM. We play every other week now, and we've got a gap every other week, so he wants to DM. Every time he puts a message on Discord, the rest of the group ignore him because he's not the DM. The DM's the only one that gets reply on messages. If I put a message up, nothing. The new guy puts a message up, nothing. If the others put something up, Rob tends to reply, therefore they will reply. So it's a very non-startery sort of game. It's very hard work. You have the artificer that can make everything and pretty much is loud and has made himself the leader of the group. And it's a goblin that turns into a little girl. My character is Azura, my exiled drow female that found solace and a home in one of the 10 towns in the Icewind Dale game that we're playing, and found herself a job in a pleasure palace, and she dressed herself in a French maid's outfit, and she discovered that she liked being like girly instead of being an evil drow at all times. So that's her. I wanted to push the bows out and try something different. And I play as Azura. I role play as Azura. Azura talks like this. She's very sweet and very calm, but she's also very spiteful and menacing. So she liked poisons. I poisoned all of the rest of the party just to see what would happen. I went into prison to kill a prisoner, almost killed myself. I set an entire village on fire, one of the 10 towns. I cut this tether that was connecting all of the villagers and cut it up and see what it did, and thus had all the villagers that try to attack us, and there were zombies, and then we set the whole place on fire. Another thing I've discovered in my playing of it for the year, I like to multi-class. Azura is a ranger bard. I wanted that to be part of her backstory, and so it became a thing, and I've realised that I like the multi-classing idea. When D&D years ago used to be, you were a ranger, you were a wizard, you were a barbarian. You couldn't overlap. There was a thing. And when 5th edition came out, you could multi-class. And I think that made a big difference to me in my mentality of you should be a wizard that can shoot a bow and arrow. You know, it's been okay. It's not been bad. The campaign's been good. We've been playing for 6 months. Tora dropped out after the first mini campaign. She kind of sort of was very uncomfortable with the overindulgence of middle-class white nerdiness. The game's okay. It's plodding along. It's been a lot of breaks. I've just found my familiar, Ichabod, my beholder dragon. That's all fine, but it's just dragging, and nobody role plays. They're all very, my character does this, my character does that, I do this, I do. Tora keeps saying you're not in the right group. Ginny D's always saying find your group. When you find your table, you'll know who they are. This is clearly not. They're okay. They do not talk at all. You walk into the upstairs of the pub, they're all looking at their phones, sitting there looking at their phones, and they go, mm-hmm. And for 20 minutes until the DM arrives, that's what happens. You get 30 seconds of conversation like, should we move to tables? Oh yeah, should we put that table there? Oh, okay, right. And it's that. I don't know anything about these people because no one talks. At no point do you go, how was your holiday? How's your cat? How was your cat's holiday? There's no interaction. There's nothing. It's dead. I'm anxious. I have social anxiety. I need to sort of get to know people and be comfortable around people for it to work. And it's just not happening. So I started looking for other places, other games. But because these places are expensive or out of the way, they're in the other side of London, and that's a mission. I know Americans all drive 250 miles to play a game, but here, getting from one side of London to the other can take 4 hours, so it's not an option. Then I found a group that plays not too far from where I am, and it's called Arcadia. Quite literally, I walked in, I spoke, and I answered more questions about myself and asked more questions about the barman in 5 minutes of being in Arcadia than I have done in an entire year at Dragons on the Hill. I don't know anybody's like surname or if they've got a cat or a dog or a gerbil or pet tarantula, I don't know. But the barman in Arcadia, conversation, full blown. Where do I come from? Where do I live? What do I do? Where have I been? How long have I been playing D&D? What characters do I play? When do I play? Where do I play? So forth. Bar staff are non-gendered. I don't know what they are. Don't care. And there's rooms everywhere, and there's parties, and there's groups, and you get free models, you get free dice. And the staff are incredibly welcoming, and they chat with you, and they want to know about you, and they are there to play D&D. It was just like, what the hell? I signed in, got a drink, I bought a pint of mead, sat down, and the next guy came in, he was new, he sat down, he started talking to me, and we had a conversation. And then we got taken into the new players' room, and we sat down, and this room is like a dedicated room in a dedicated building. The rooms are like gothic rooms with dining tables and pictures of dragons everywhere, and they've got monitors on the table for your maps and whatever. And we got taken through the character development on the D&D Beyond app and explain every single stage. Whether you are new or have been playing for 15 years, everybody still went through the same process, and everyone was treated with the same thing. Even the person sitting next to me who's been playing for 15 years still asked questions about, this. And it's like, yeah, I've never understood that. It was explained. Dragons on the Hill, come in, sit down, don't ask questions, don't do anything. You might get somebody go, you're doing that wrong. Or you will definitely get someone going, you can't do that. Can't do what? That. Well, what do I do? I'm not telling you. So character development done, character made. I already had an idea for a character. I made Beer Splitter, a Goliath, a barbarian druid. So now I have a character, and I went into a game, and we played a game where we had to look for some flying cows. Sounds like an episode from Critical Role, which I watched recently. Apparently some cows had been stolen, and the local wizard student had been practicing his levitation spells on them. It turned out the cows liked being able to fly, and when the spell had been taken off of them, they wished to go and find out what was outside of their pasture, and so they planned a heist with a double cross, so we had to go and investigate. It was great. Everybody played in character, even though there was 3 new people in the room, 2 of which had only ever played once in their life. We had 2 players that had played before, one very experienced, who played a fried egg. I kid you not, he played Sunnyside, a fried egg. His backstory was a wizard had been caught in a storm, found himself in a cave, found a dragon's egg in the cave, tried to magic it to cook it with too much energy, a thunderstorm and an explosion, and the fried egg became sentient, scared the wizard away, and became Sunnyside. That's not the remarkable bit. The remarkable bit is that James, the guy that played Sunnyside, did the entire thing in a voice much higher than this, and much more squeaky and puffy all the way through. Sunnyside spoke like this, and it was amazing. He would go up and go, I smite you. It was incredible, and he kept that all the way through, all night long, and everybody played in character. Bruce Splitter talks like this, because he's a barbarian. Not slow. Common's not his native language, so he speaks slowly. And that's it. Game ended, we found the cows, we liberated the cows. Some of them went back to the pasture, some of them left and ran away with the kobolds that they hired to rescue them. That was it. I left, came home, and I will be going back. Next time I shall take my Chimera with me, because she is welcome to go, which is another bonus. Dragons on the Hill are anti-pet, another problem. Yes, I will go back. I do intend to keep going to my Icewind Dale game, purely because I want to know what Azura's origins are, and that's down to the DM. I left it in the DM's hand to find out, and I want to get to the end of this game. But I think at the end of it, I will have to spend my £15 a go each time and go to Arcadia. But it does mean that you go into a house that has been converted into a D&D game studio. So I will now get back to painting figures, because that's what I usually do. I'm painting this, which is Vi and Caitlin from Arcadia. Arcane, almost the same. That's a video to come up. But if you like hearing about my D&D adventures and like seeing me painting figures, whether tiny or large, whatever they are, and you like anything to do with roleplay and anything I can tie into roleplay, whether it's making flow art into terrain boards or turning bits of rock into stories about rock climbing and putting figures on them. And if you'd like that and you're not subscribed, watch a couple of videos, see what you think, and then maybe think about subscribing. It's been 9 months, got 15 subscribers. So do us a favour if you want to be nice, you want to be lawfully good and be a paladin. If you want to be chaotically evil, hit subscribe and never watch them ever again. That will be me. I'm now going to go and paint the arcane girls, and I will be back at some point or something else. First off, I should go and walk the chimera. So see you soon. Bye. Let's film this again. Having filmed this 3 times when it was really boring. Again just now, we're facing the wrong way. Good start. I've been playing D&D for a year. It is my anniversary. I'm rambling a bit because kind of excited about this new prospect and this new thing. So yay, Arcadia. Well done. And the last year, I banged the microphone.